The recent boxing match at Wembley Stadium was a spectacle that left an indelible mark on those fortunate enough to witness it. Oleksandr Usyk's performance against Daniel Dubois was nothing short of extraordinary, a display that cemented his status as one of the greatest heavyweights of this era. The Ukrainian's masterful execution in the ring silenced doubters and electrified the 90,000-strong crowd, earning him widespread admiration and respect. His ability to dominate a formidable opponent like Dubois, who was riding high after a string of impressive victories, underscored why Usyk is considered a generational talent. The atmosphere at Wembley was electric, a fitting stage for a fight that had the boxing world buzzing with anticipation. This was no ordinary bout. It was a clash for the undisputed heavyweight championship, a title that carries immense weight in the sport. Usyk's victory was a testament to his skill, resilience, and unyielding spirit, qualities that resonate deeply with fans and fighters alike. His triumph was not just a personal victory but a moment of pride for the Ukrainian people, who have faced their own challenges on a global stage. The significance of the night was amplified by the shared January birthday of Usyk, the legendary Muhammad Ali, and others born under this star, a coincidence that seemed to add a layer of mystique to the event. The conversation surrounding Usyk's performance was filled with awe and reverence. Observers marveled at how he dismantled Dubois with surgical precision, using his footwork, feints, and ring intelligence to outclass his younger opponent. At 38, Usyk showed no signs of slowing down, defying concerns about his age with a performance that was as dynamic as it was devastating. His ability to control the fight from the opening bell, landing precise counters and evading Dubois' powerful punches, was a masterclass in boxing artistry. The fifth-round knockout, sealed with a crushing left hook, left Dubois crumpled on the canvas, unable to beat the count. It was a moment that encapsulated Usyk's dominance and sent a clear message to the boxing world. He remains the king of the heavyweight division. The crowd's reaction was visceral, chanting Usyk's name as he celebrated a victory that further solidified his legacy. For many, watching Usyk in action was a privilege, a chance to see a fighter who operates on a level above his peers, blending technical brilliance with an almost intangible mental fortitude. The discussion inevitably turned to comparisons with the greats, with some daring to mention Usyk in the same breath as Muhammad Ali. While direct comparisons across eras are tricky, the sentiment was clear. Usyk's performance was the kind that transcends time. His ability to adapt, to read his opponent, and to execute his game plan with such precision drew parallels to the all-time greats. Unlike Ali, whose charisma and flair defined his era, Usyk's brilliance lies in his quiet confidence and relentless focus. He doesn't rely on brute strength or overwhelming power, but on a cerebral approach that makes him nearly untouchable in the ring. The question of whether he's as good as Ali sparked debate, with some arguing that Usyk's resume, 2 wins over Tyson Fury, 2 over Anthony Joshua, and now 2 over Dubois, places him among the elite. Others cautioned against such comparisons, noting that each fighter belongs to their era, but few could deny that Usyk is the best heavyweight of the current generation. His record, now 24-0 with 15 knockouts, speaks for itself, and his ability to become a 3-time undisputed champion across 2 weight classes is a feat unmatched in the modern era. For Dubois, the night was a harsh lesson, though not without its moments of valor. At 27, the young Brit entered the fight with newfound confidence, having stunned the boxing world with a 5th-round knockout of Anthony Joshua just months earlier. His aggressive approach in the early rounds showed promise, as he tried to impose his physicality and power on Usyk. He landed a few solid shots, particularly in the 3rd round, where he briefly troubled the Ukrainian with a flush right hand. But Usyk's ability to weather those moments and respond with devastating counters highlighted the gap in their skill levels. Some questioned whether Dubois could have risen after the final knockdown, suggesting he might have had more to give. Others felt the stoppage was merciful, sparing him further punishment against a fighter who was simply too sharp, too experienced, and too relentless. Dubois' effort was commendable. He fought with heart and didn't shy away from the challenge, but Usyk's brilliance left no room for an upset. The consensus was that Dubois, despite the loss, has a bright future. At his age, with his power and improving skill set, he could still become a multi-time world champion, but this night belonged to Usyk. The post-fight analysis was rich with insights from boxing luminaries, each offering their perspective on what made Usyk's performance so special. Lennox Lewis, a former undisputed heavyweight champion, saw something special in Dubois' preparation and mindset, believing the young fighter had the tools to pull off an upset. He emphasized the importance of Dubois using his size and power to push Usyk to the ropes, preventing the Ukrainian from dictating the pace with his movement. However, Lewis' optimism for Dubois was tempered by Usyk's performance, which proved too much for the Brit to handle. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, was firmly in Usyk's corner, placing a significant bet on the Ukrainian and citing his mental edge and technical precision as decisive factors. Canelo's faith in Usyk was rewarded, as the Ukrainian's composure under pressure was evident throughout the fight. David Haye offered a more balanced view, suggesting that Dubois had a chance if he could make the fight rough and physical, avoiding Usyk's technical game. Yet even Haye acknowledged the difficulty of betting against an undefeated fighter like Usyk, whose experience and ring IQ make him a formidable opponent. Tony Bellew, a former cruiserweight champion, was unequivocal in his praise for Usyk, calling him the best heavyweight of the era. He pointed to Usyk's psychological edge, noting that the Ukrainian had already made Dubois quit once in their 2023 encounter. Bellew predicted a late stoppage, a forecast that proved remarkably accurate, though the finish came earlier than expected. Ricky Hatton acknowledged Dubois' growth since their first meeting, particularly his newfound confidence after knocking out Joshua, but he, too, leaned toward Usyk, citing the Ukrainian's unmatched skill set. Amir Khan was even more definitive, arguing that Dubois' power, while formidable, couldn't overcome Usyk's timing and hand speed. Carl Froch echoed this sentiment, pointing to Usyk's flawless resume and unshakable conditioning as reasons why an upset was unlikely. George Groves took a psychological angle, suggesting that Dubois' previous loss to Usyk might have left lingering doubts, making it difficult for him to overcome the Ukrainian's mental and technical dominance. The question of what's next for Usyk dominated post-fight discussions. After such a commanding performance, many wondered whether he would continue to fight or sail off into the sunset, his legacy secure. Usyk himself was non-committal, expressing a desire to rest and spend time with his family after a grueling series of high-stakes bouts. He mentioned potential opponents like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, and Joseph Parker, each name drawing a roar from the Wembley crowd. A trilogy fight with Fury, who has claimed he beat Usyk in their previous encounters, remains a tantalizing prospect, though Usyk's dominance in their two fights makes a third bout feel less urgent. Joseph Parker, the WBO interim champion, was frequently mentioned as a likely next opponent, with promoter Frank Warren noting that the WBO would likely mandate a fight between Usyk and Parker. While Parker has been in excellent form, with wins over Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang, most agreed that he would face an uphill battle against Usyk's superior skills. The idea of Usyk retiring was also floated, given his already illustrious career. Having achieved undisputed status at cruiserweight and now twice at heavyweight, he has little left to prove. Yet at 38, Usyk insisted he's still young, brushing off concerns about his age with a characteristic blend of humor and defiance. His performance against Dubois showed no signs of decline, with his reflexes, footwork, and conditioning as sharp as ever. Some speculated that a fight with Jake Paul, who was present at Wembley and shared a respectful moment with Usyk post-fight, could be an intriguing, if unlikely, possibility. Paul's bold challenge for an MMA fight was met with amusement, but it underscored Usyk's status as the biggest draw in the heavyweight division. For now, Usyk holds all the cards, able to choose his next move, whether it's another title defense, a blockbuster trilogy, or a well-earned retirement. Dubois, meanwhile, was left to reflect on a night that didn't go his way. Despite the loss, he earned praise for his courage and willingness to take on one of the sport's all-time greats. His promoter, Frank Warren, expressed confidence in his future, noting that Dubois' youth and power make him a force to be reckoned with. The consensus was that Dubois gave a good account of himself, particularly in the early rounds, but Usyk's ability to adapt and capitalize on his opponent's mistakes proved decisive. Some criticized Dubois' preparation, with reports suggesting he arrived at Wembley later than ideal, potentially disrupting his focus. Others felt his aggressive approach, while admirable, played into Usyk's hands, allowing the Ukrainian to counter with devastating effect. Still, Dubois' resilience and recent successes suggest he'll be back, likely contending for titles again in the near future. The fight itself was a study in contrasts. Dubois, the younger, more powerful fighter, relied on his size and knockout power, hoping to overwhelm Usyk early. Usyk, the seasoned technician, used his movement and precision to neutralize Dubois' advantages. From the first round, Usyk's southpaw jab and feints kept Dubois off balance, preventing him from setting his feet and unleashing his power. By the fifth round, Usyk's counters had taken their toll, with a right hand dropping Dubois and a subsequent left hook ending the fight. Punch stats underscored Usyk's efficiency, landing 46% of his power punches compared to Dubois' 23%. The Ukrainian's ability to land clean, unseen shots was a key factor, as was his relentless pressure and conditioning, which showed no signs of waning despite his age. The Wembley crowd, while naturally rooting for their hometown fighter, couldn't help but admire Usyk's brilliance. Even in Dubois' backyard, the Ukrainian received thunderous support, a testament to his charisma and skill. His entrance, clutching a stuffed Eeyore toy given to him by his daughter, added a touch of humanity to the larger-than-life figure. Post-fight, Usyk's emotional reaction, dropping to his knees in tears, revealed the weight of the moment, a culmination of years of sacrifice and dedication. For the fans, it was a night to remember, a chance to witness a fighter who combines technical mastery with an unbreakable will. As the boxing world looks ahead, one thing is clear.